Welcome to the Last Diet Experience. On today's episode, it was actually inspired by one of not my guests, my clients. We were having conversation about how diverse weight loss solutions can be that have nothing to do with what the typical diet route is. And one of the things that we thought about was acupuncture, which to be honest, I've never thought about it, but it immediately made me think of a very special person because it's my uncle, Uncle Ed. And so I thought that it would be fun to have him over in the podcast because honestly, I don't really know much about or much anything about acupuncture. All I know is that you stick needles in the body, and that's pretty much it. So I hope Ed has a good way to explain it so I can understand how acupuncture can help with weight. And so, without further ado, let's jump right in. You're listening to The Last Diet Experience. I'm Lizzy Habits, and I lost 20 pounds without any typical diets and have effortlessly kept it off since. What I discovered was not just permanent weight loss, but a journey of health, self-love, joy, and personal growth. And I'd like to bring you along so you can do it too. In this podcast, I will share what I did to lose weight and keep it off while never having to count calories, white knuckle hunger, and especially not having to give up my favorite foods. It's definitely not the normal path. Let's dive in. Well, for me, it's Uncle Ed, but for everyone else, is Edmund Erickson, and he is an acupuncture practitioner. And I am actually going to let you introduce yourself. Tell me a little bit about you. Like, what is acupuncture, and how did you even end up choosing this as a career?
My name is Edmund Erickson. My wife and I, we live in Tennessee, south of Nashville. We were living in California, and yes, I became an acupuncturist in 2003. What got me started really was I had graduated college, and at the time I was having some issues with sleep, stress, and pain. And a friend of mine was asking me or telling me, "Hey, you should go do acupuncture. My daughter does it. She loves it." And she herself was doing acupuncture as well. And at that point, I had never heard anything about it, didn't know a thing. And I asked her to explain it to me. So she did. And as immediately when she mentioned the word needle or needles were involved, I thought, nah, I don't want to do that. Because I'm not a big fan of needles. But it turns out that these needles aren't the ones that put stuff in you or take stuff out of you. These aren't the hypodermic needles. These are just little needles, and I do actually have a pack here, which you can't even probably see them in there. Super
I see
thin.
something, but not the needle. Oh yeah.
So, so right here, this thicker part, this is actually the shaft or the handle of the needle, and then here's the shaft. So I'll just take one out. But these,
It's long.
it's about 1.5 inches long.
Mhm.
Now, the only reason why I use this is my teacher, he said that the best way to do a proper treatment is to use a longer needle versus a shorter needle. Now, the needle itself here, this is only 0.25 uh, in diameter. There we do make much smaller. There are much smaller ones. They go down to I think a 0.14. Um, but the only reason he uses a longer one is so that he doesn't stab himself with it. So it's an easier tool, like a long sword versus a short knife, so to
Oh,
say, right?
okay.
So that's one of the reasons why he would recommend the longer one. And I just got used to it over the years using the longer needles. Um, so the discussion today is weight loss. Now you're wondering, well, can acupuncture work for weight loss? Now I'll give you some examples and stories along the way about how people they used acupuncture for health and wellness. They just wanted to feel better. Consequently, ended up losing weight in the process.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah, that's my story. I just wanted to feel better. And I
yeah, yeah, and when
consequently
you
got
feel
to lose
better,
weight.
you just automatically lose weight.
Yeah.
It might not be like this story I'm going to tell you.
Mhm.
There's a gentleman I treated. This is out in California. He weighed 400 pounds at the time, and I only got to treat him for a month because the clinic I was treating at, clients would come in for a month stay, and then they would head back home. And I treated him for aches and pains and all kinds of things, but I added in weight loss points, something simple to do. And he ended up in a month's time losing just over 20 pounds. Now, if you do the math on that, it's not a huge amount because he weighed 400. But
Mhm.
what happened was he got so excited that he ended up making an appointment. He called his wife to find an acupuncturist in whatever state he lived in. He was on the East Coast somewhere, and made an appointment and was excited to go and keep doing treatments because he felt better. He was in less pain. He slept better, and he hadn't done anything with his diet at all. He was just doing the acupuncture. So over um, over the course of the years, what ends up happening, I think, for a lot of acupuncturists is they use themselves as guinea pigs or they try different things. For my wife and I, we started. This is when I was in acupuncture school. What we ended up doing was we had heard about something called what is it called? Gosh, now I forget it. Food combining. Have you
Mm.
ever heard of food combining?
No. What is that?
So one of the things that you learn in acupuncture school, you learn how to do the acupuncture, but they in California also get taught the Chinese herbs or the Eastern herbs that you use in your and how that plays a role and how effective that is. But you also do diet and exercise and clinical counseling. So it covers quite a bit of modalities. But one of the things that we had heard about was food combining, and what we ended up doing was using this as a source of losing weight. Now, what it is, it's very simple. All you do is you can combine protein with vegetables during a meal, but you can't combine protein, carbs, and vegetables,
Okay.
right? So you can't. The main thing is don't combine carbs with protein.
Oh.
And what ends up happening is your system becomes very, very efficient. We added a couple of other things, and losing weight is uh, is more helpful really if you have somebody to buddy up with and someone to do it with as a
Absolutely.
group or at least two people
Mhm. Yeah,
because
absolutely.
uh, you can feed off of each other and figure out what's working and what's not. So what we ended up doing was did food combining for 6 months only. Um, we added a few things to this, one of which was we cut out coffee, but only for the weekend, and we cut out sweets only for the weekend. Right? So during the week, you eat food combining, but on the weekend, as much coffee and sweets as you want to have, you can eat until your heart's content. And that's what we did. And one of the challenging things was immediately when you stop the sugar, your brain is you just get this brain fog and you can't think properly. And so what you do is you add in honey.
Mm.
And uh, so what I would do is a teaspoon in the morning or whenever you have cravings for sugar. After a certain point, you don't really pay much attention. You need less and less over time. But in a matter of 6 months, um, we did this and I lost 45 pounds and my wife lost 35 pounds.
Mm.
So yeah, I was quite impressed because we didn't do anything as far as we still ate the stuff that we loved, right? I still had the tiramisu on the weekend with an espresso or two, or just coffee. Um, Now, since then, we've revamped that. You can play with this, and so I know that you, Lizzie, you were saying that you want to make it to where people learn how to lose weight, but they don't give up what they love, and this is a way to do it. This is a way to do it. But another thing you can do, say you don't want to go to that extreme. Say you want to uh, you want to do just a little bit of it, right? So you still want to do your coffee and you want to do your sweets. Well, the best thing there is you do your sweets and your coffee earlier in the day because then your body will process the sugar, and by the end of the night, by the time it's time to go to bed, it's through your system. It's like coffee; you can't drink it all day, otherwise you won't sleep at all.
Got it.
Well, sugar has that effect. It
Mhm.
gives you energy. It wakes the brain up. But you put on pounds if you eat it too late. So so we've been doing that, and that works. That works quite well too. Um, Sometimes for me personally, what I'll do is I'll skip a meal. Now, who created the rule that you had to have 3 square meals a day?
Right.
Um, it's not necessarily true. Uh, but you can pick and choose, if you want to have like 2 weeks ago I decided I'm just going to see what's going to happen if I skip dinner. So I had a light breakfast, a moderate lunch, not too heavy, and then a snack later on, but I didn't have dinner at all. Within 4 days I lost 10 pounds.
Mhm.
Now, keep in mind that for men can lose weight a little bit faster than women,
Yeah.
um, and so you could lose the weight quickly, and I could gain it just as fast if I just have if I have a couple of cups of coffee and something sweet, like
Mhm.
Whole Foods chocolate cake is pretty good. Um, then I'll gain it back really fast. So, um, but the main thing really is for me, the go-to, and it always really has, is that food combining.
Hmm.
And unfortunately, that gets rid of the hamburger with fries. You can't have that anymore. Now you have to go to, like, say, In and Out and do the have the lettuce for the bun.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know if you've
Yeah.
ever had that before. Yeah,
Mm,
so
no.
no,
No, I like
but
my bun.
that's yeah, yeah. So that's something that you can do. But now, as far as the acupuncture is concerned, a typical treatment would be a few ear points. Now, if you look at the ear, you could actually look this up online, and the ear is just a little microcosm of the whole entire body.
Okay.
You could do One of my teachers, she would go around the country and she would show us how to she would teach on auricular acupuncture. And some of the points, you could use stomach point, you could use an endocrine point, you could use there's a actual hunger point where
Mm,
it will reduce cravings of any kind.
mm,
Um,
mm.
so you'd add a few points, ear points. Then
Mhm.
you would add some extremity points, right? Some large intestine points, some stomach points, some
Like, within the
spleen
ear?
points, and these are all four. No, no, no. I mean, you could do all of those because,
Uh-huh.
like I said, all the points on the body that relate to the internal organs. So all the major organs, right? The
Mhm.
liver, the gallbladder, spleen, stomach, large intestine, small intestine, heart, pericardium, and so on. Um, all those points are also in the ear itself, right? In the cartilage, not in the whole of the ear, but in the cartilage. So, but a typical acupuncturist would go ahead and put a few. ear points in. Like I said, you could use stomach points, you could use spleen points, you could use even liver points if you want. There's one point in there though that's it's called ear shen men. We say it's ear shen men because there's a shen men point on the body as well,
What is that?
um, and it's used for relaxation. A lot of people eat or overeat because they're stressed out.
Mhm.
So one of the things to de-stress and um, relax, especially during an acupuncture treatment, is to do that point. You could also do this point here in the middle. It's the third eye point, yin tong, and that is very relaxing as well. And then the other ones that you would use on the extremities, the lower arms below from the elbow down and from the knees down to the feet, um, spleen, stomach, liver, large intestine, small intestine, all of
Mhm.
these points you have availability to use. And what you're actually doing is basically tuning up the body as you would a car.
Oh.
So you're allowing the body to function better. You get the sleep, you get better sleep, you get better energy, digestion improves, stress decreases. Um, and and now you won't just automatically go to the refrigerator. Your conscious is going to be more aware, and you're going to pick and choose.
Mm. Yeah.
You can certainly add exercise in there. Something good to do is just go for a walk.
Mhm.
Go for a walk in the morning or in the evening. Do it somewhat regularly. It doesn't have to be miles and miles. It could be just go down the block and back. Just do something to get things moving. And when you do this, if you look at, just the function of walking, right?
Mhm.
You're moving your hips and you're moving your legs. And when you do this, your digestion will automatically improve because that's where the large and small intestine are, right around your waist.
Mm. I'm
So those,
I'm I'm just thinking I've heard, like, if your digestion is a little slow, go for a walk. So I think
yeah,
that's
yeah,
what's yeah.
yeah, exactly. I mean, um, another thing too is really it's all about in Chinese medicine. Um, some people talk about the word qi, and that's the body's
Mhm.
energy. Well, one of my teachers, he felt that qi is overrated. He felt that it's more about blood flow than about qi flow, but qi is within the blood, and he would recommend this book. I don't know if you can see it okay.
Dao?
The
Dao of
Tao of Chinese Medicine. And this explains,
excuse me?
bless you,
Thank you.
this explains it. If you actually want to read something, that's probably the best book to read.
Mhm.
According to him, that is the best, and probably he would say the only book to read. Now, another thing you can do is this has helped us over the years, healing with whole foods.
Healing with whole
They keep
foods.
coming out with a new edition. That's the,
By
the most
Paul
recent one that
Pitchford.
we had that
Okay.
have, yeah, Paul Pitchford. Um, and that goes over little tidbits what you might be able to do. Just really, when it comes to Chinese medicine, it's I don't know, it's easy to explain without big long words. Um, and so one of the analogies that they would use in school was that the body was like a house, and if you think of a house, well, where would the kitchen be? The
Mhm.
kitchen would be right kind of in the center, like where your stomach is,
Okay.
right? And the upper level above that, you have your heart and your pericardium and your lungs. That would be, one diagram will show it in the upper level more of the second floor. And the lungs is just the windows, you breathe in, you breathe out to let air in or to let
Mhm.
air out. You just open up the window.
Mhm.
Um, and in the kitchen, well, that's the spleen and stomach. That's where you make the food.
Mhm.
Um, and that's where the body does all the digesting. And one thing in the United States, and this has been going on ever since the invention of ice, we automatically think that, it's a good thing to go to the restaurant and have a glass of ice. In
Wow.
Chinese medicine, you would say, no, 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 don't do that. The reason why is because your body is preparing as you're going to the restaurant, your body is automatically creating the enzymes to do
Mhm,
the digesting. You go
mhm.
and you sit down and you place your order, you're drinking your coffee or your drink, your ice cold drink or beer or whatever it is. Well, you've just diluted all of the enzymes in the stomach and you've cooled it off. So it's going to be harder to digest.
Hmm,
So
okay.
one of the things that they say is, that we were taught is, okay, have something there to drink in case, you choke. But it's not until after you have your meal that you should actually, drink something. Of course, we can't always do that. It's just something that we're using as a tool here to
Uh-huh,
lose weight. This is something that you could use this at home right
mhm.
away in the morning when I get up. I don't drink ice cold water. I drink room temperature water,
Oh, okay,
and then
okay.
I'll make a pot of hot water
Mhm,
and have hot water. Partly the reason why is because, say, if I don't want to have coffee that day, which I don't drink much of these days, I usually tend to drink it on the weekends. Um, but I want to improve my digestion, I just have hot water. Now,
mhm.
that will help digestion, but also it will help elimination too, because the body's designed that if you drink cold water, it goes to the urinary bladder to be exited right away. But if
Okay.
you drink warm water, it goes to the bowels
Oh,
and
okay.
helps with elimination and regularity.
Mhm,
Um, so that said, if you're able, cut down on the ice drinks that you drink, switch over, use filtered water, use more either hot water or warm water or at
mhm.
least room temperature water. That will help that overall function. So, one of the things that I use a lot as far as controlling weight, I use the clock. So, if I get up, I know that whatever I'm making for breakfast is going to take a while, right? As a kid, I would just, do cereal and milk,
Uh-huh.
and I would be done. But, as an older adult, no, I take more time with it. And so what I do is I drink water right away. 30, 40 minutes later or an hour later is when I'm actually eating the meal,
Mhm,
right?
okay.
So there's other things that I do. Um, Also, I do stretches in the morning. That helps. Um, and so what you want to do is you want to drink the water because during the night you either sweat it out or you just it's evaporated some, right?
Mhm,
Just because you've been sleeping all night. So you lost water already. So most often people do get thirsty right away and they want to drink something.
right.
That's something to do. Make hot water, make tea, you know, drink room temperature water.
Mhm,
My wife, a lot of times, she'll drink, a big glass of water, but then follow it later on with just hot water, tea. Um, so
mhm.
that helps to lose weight as well. Now, as far as let's go back to the acupuncture. So,
Yeah.
a lot of times people ask, well, acupuncture, does it hurt? Does it work? How does it work?
Yeah, I
And
wanna know
and
how it
the
works.
inevitable, yeah. How does it work? And how many treatments do I need?
Mm,
Right. So that totally varies on what the goal is. Like I use this example of this gentleman I treated. He was 400 pounds at the time I treated him. Well, his main goal really was to sleep better and to have less pain because he had a lot of knee problems because of his weight.
mhm,
Um, and so if you're dealing with that, that's one thing. But if you're dealing with someone who's just stressed out and they want to stop overeating or eat better, that can be a totally different thing. Now, I know that the people that you're targeting are females between 35 and 55. And so say a woman comes in at age 35 and she has aches and pains everywhere. She's totally stressed out and she's gained 20 pounds. Um, and whatever, she wants to have a baby.
Mm.
She has a couple, but she wants to have one more. Well, you could do that all easily, very easily with just acupuncture alone. You do what we call balance the hormones.
Mhm.
Um,
Okay.
Now there is a gal that we had treated, and I treated her many times. You have to be careful with what you what you want and what you don't want, because this medicine, though, kind of it's not talked about a whole lot in the States. It can be quite powerful.
Mhm.
This lady that I was treating, I discovered that she was pregnant, but she was 47 years old,
Mhm.
and I was pretty excited about that because I thought it was pretty impressive that she was 47 and she was pregnant and she was about to have the baby. She was just a few weeks away from delivery,
Mhm.
and I got all this data on the intake form, and I was congratulated her, and she had said, I'm not actually 47. She says, I'm actually 49. And so she's 49 years old, carried the baby to full term. And she, a week or so prior to the last treatment that I gave her,
Uh-huh.
um, she one of her kids was getting married. So she had a baby on the way, and the one of the older kids was already grown up and getting married, and she had already had at least four kids, I believe. This might have been the fifth or the sixth. Um, and all she was coming in to do was balance her hormones. Well, it works pretty well to balance hormones, obviously for her.
Mhm.
Um, and that can happen. I mean, I treated a lady years ago who she was threatening a miscarriage, and she had already had five miscarriages,
Mm.
and she had one boy, but when I saw her, she was pregnant with her second, or was pregnant, and threatening to lose this one as well. So I ended up finding out that she was low on progesterone. I gave her some herbal remedy to increase progesterone
Mhm.
and to help keep the baby. And she went full term, and everything was fine. So, but again, our goal was health related. Just make
Mhm.
her feel better because she had pain. She wasn't sleeping. She had low back pain, knee pain, and wasn't sleeping, and was totally stressed out. Partly because she had to go to the doctor and have an ultrasound every day or every other day to find out if everything was okay with the baby's development and stuff.
Mhm.
And so uh, I didn't see her anymore. After that baby was born, everything was fine, delivery was fine and such. Then finally, a year goes by and I get a phone call from her, and she says, "Hey, I have back pain again, and I need to come back in and see you." And so she comes in,
Mhm.
and she's full term with another baby.
What?
But yes, so she was having her third baby, and I told her, I said, "Wow, that's impressive." I said, "I love this because what ended up happening was we gave her the herbs for the progesterone.
Mhm.
Uh, we balanced her hormones in the process because I treated her over off and on over the course of 3 months, and that's kind of usually what's recommended. And for this third baby, she didn't have to do any ultrasounds whatsoever. She was not on guarded care. She was also in her mid 40s.
Yeah.
And then the funny part of it was, she says, "But Ed, we only wanted two babies." And I kind of chuckled at that because, well, be careful now. You know that your body is functioning properly,
Uh-huh.
and if you don't want any more babies, you know what to do.
Or not to do.
So yeah, yeah, exactly. And that's really what it is. It's a functional medicine to help the
Mhm.
body function better, to get all the organs functioning properly.
Okay. So I wasn't even going to go here, but now that, I mean, yes, overweight is a hormonal thing. I truly believe that. But also, one thing that my audience, being women, get into is menopause. And we're talking about hormone balancing because when I mean you're going through menopause, your hormones are going to change, but then there's this promising treatment about hormone replacement therapy. And there's this controversy because for years we heard that that was not a good thing because you were going to give women cancer if you put them in hormone replacement therapy. But now it's coming out that, oh, no, no, it was the results were misinterpreted. And that's not necessarily true. So now, my question to you is regarding that. Do you have any stance on the hormone replacement therapy? Is it even needed? Is there a natural way to treat that? Does it work the same? Does it work better? Um, Talk to me about that.
Well, so as it relates to the cycle, there is a correlation between the cycle and the years. Let me explain.
Mhm.
For ladies, they have it's a 7 year cycle. Every 7 years is, so 7 times 7 is 49. That's when menopause is supposed to start. But
Okay.
7 times 2 is 14. That's when the cycle is supposed to start, right?
Oh,
But in the
okay.
United States, a lot of young ladies start very, very early. I mean, we're talking 11, 10, 12, and so there is that. So what happens is, um, so just as when ladies go into the cycle, they have to come out of it.
Okay.
Where if you do too much, I'm not against hormone replacement therapy if
Mm-hmm.
it's done right. It should be done to transition you out of menopause or through it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, let me give you an example. One of my teachers, she was saying that there was a lady she was treating who was in her 70s, and ever since she started menopause, she was on hormone replacement therapy. And it turned out that she was still having symptoms and in her 70s of menopause. And
Mm-hmm.
so she ended up having to still go through it, you know. It's
Mm-hmm.
just a matter of how you want to do it. Do you want to use herbs and acupuncture, or maybe even just acupuncture if it's doable?
Mm-hmm.
But there's some ladies that, the sweats get too strong. They don't sleep well. They could have spontaneous sweats in the middle of the shopping and standing in checkout in the at the grocery store, and they just have profuse sweat. And so that's what you want to do, is you want to use the acupuncture to help balance the hormones that way. There are herbs for that. Any acupuncturist would have a formula. Now, I don't. I mean, I have a bunch of formulas here. I don't have one offhand, but it's just a bottle of herbs,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and inside is just capsules, just
Mm-hmm.
like you
Yeah.
would take vitamins, right?
Huh?
So what you can do is you can use the Chinese herbs to help balance the hormones. Now, what happens too is that when ladies are younger, the weight is more distributed in the hips and the
Mm-hmm.
glutes. But then once they reach a certain age after menopause, the weight buildup tends to be in the stomach.
Mm-hmm.
Now, to counter, what you'll want to do, especially if that starts happening, and what you'll want to do is you'll want to add in weights. In other words, either on your own, if you feel comfortable doing it, go to the gym, ask for a personal trainer to help you out. My wife does this.
Mhm.
You could do a buddy system where, you go with a friend and you go and you strengthen your muscles.
Mhm.
Because logically, the stronger the muscles are, and you don't have to, you know, uh, we're not necessarily wanting to build uh, just to see how much weight you can
Right,
press,
right.
but it's just to tonify, strengthen.
Mhm.
If you add that, the muscles will consume energy.
Mhm.
They'll consume fat, and so that's a way to counter it as well. Some ladies, what they'll do is they'll do yoga. The big thing recently is hot yoga, um, and then also Pilates is a really good way,
Mhm.
especially if you have any kind of pain. So yeah, it can be used for that. I mean, any really anything that people have, it can mostly help with.
Mhm.
And also, if you're a lot of times people will say, "Well, what is what do the herbs do?" They'll even ask me, "What's in it?"
Right.
Well, that's pretty hard to explain because this formula that I just showed you,
Mhm.
see the list? See the list of
It's a
herbs
long
that's in it?
list for
That's a pretty
sure.
long list.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. A formula in Chinese medicine is basically any tends to be two or more herbs put together to
Okay.
create and so two or more herbs that happens to have about 15 by the looks of it.
Mhm.
Um, and that's a formula. And um, so now what we want to do is we want to go back to the other question that you had before I forget. Is you said, how does acupuncture work? Now, I mentioned I mentioned this book, right? I mentioned this book.
Tao
And in this
Chinese
book,
medicine.
the Tao of Chinese medicine, this one explains it pretty well. In a common sense way without using the word qi, with using the word, let's just use blood flow because that's what it's all about.
Okay.
Most people, if they have any health issues and they're advanced and very bad health issues, it's an issue of blood flow, heart attacks, strokes, and the other one, the one with the C, C. Anyway, so it's about blood flow. So when you're taking, let's use this point here. So okay, so
Okay, so
right
you're showing me a
here
needle.
is a large intestine point.
Oh,
Now,
okay.
if you put the
Right.
needle in there, right?
It's
I
between
don't
your
insert
thumb
it,
and
but if you do,
your finger and your index?
between your thumb and finger, you put it there.
Uh-huh.
That will help the large intestine function better. Now,
Okay.
what happens is, and this is pretty common sense when you think about it, that needle is now, say it's in there,
Mhm.
and what the body is doing is it's seeing that there's an injury. Why? Because there's a needle stuck in me. It's just like if I were to go out in the back and be stung by a bee
Mhm.
or go and step on a pricker or something like that. It's an injury. It's a small tissue injury. And
Okay.
what will happen is the body will want to heal it instantly,
Mhm.
right away. It's not going to wait. Um, and so it'll send all the hormones, red and white blood cells, painkillers, um, to that site to reduce pain if that's what we're working on, because that is one of the primary points for any kind of pain, especially headaches. This is the one where you press
Mhm.
if you got a headache, in the front or in the sides, um, and that can
For people
reduce
that are not
headaches. So what it,
watch, just it's the same point between your index finger and your thumb. That's where you would press.
yeah, and so what happens is uh, the body will send everything there. It'll improve blood flow, but now imagine, say, you want to do several things. Say you want to improve digestion, decrease stress, relieve back pain. Um, let's just use those three. Well, you could put points in the body. Oh,
Mhm.
and weight loss. Let's add in weight loss.
Yeah.
You could go even more. You could do more than that. You do all the points simultaneously.
Mhm.
Now the body's talking to all of these points simultaneously, getting the blood flow to improve. Um, and yeah, I mean, it works really well to treat multiple things simultaneously.
Mhm.
Now that's how it's working. Now, people do talk about, oh, the energy, it's the chi and stuff like that. I
Mhm.
don't know. It is about the chi because the body does have energy, but it's more explained better through this book, just by if you use the words blood flow,
Okay, okay.
because that's really what you're doing. You improve blood flow, um, well, chances of strokes go down, chances of heart attack go down, chances of the big, C word, that goes down as
Okay.
well. Um,
Just to clarify,
but
when you say C word, you mean cancer?
yeah,
Yeah, okay, I know.
yeah, I know that sometimes
Alright.
podcasters get bumped for they get bumped for if they talk about that.
Really? Oh,
Um, depending on where they put their podcast if it's on
oh.
certain channels. So anyway, so that's how it works. Pretty primitive. My teacher, he thinks too that the body is designed that it doesn't improve full blood flow until it's out of pain.
Mm,
So if you have a knee that's in pain or a low back that's in pain, your blood flow is compromised right away. And he says that, well, the reason why because it's very primitive in uh, its thought, in its way that it functions. It will actually, say you have your thumb hurts or whatever. He says that it will actually shunt blood flow from that area until the pain improves or reduces or goes away.
mhm,
Now, the beauty of acupuncture is that if I have pain in the hand here, I don't have
mhm.
to stick a needle in it. I could use the opposite foot and put points around the big toe. This is the thumb. This is the big finger. So you just do the opposite. That's called the balance method.
So wait, you
Um,
you have pain on the hand and you put needles on the foot?
yes, you can use needles
Oh,
on the foot to help it. Yep.
interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
I
go
can
ahead.
ask you, like, one thing that I don't think we've touched on is that what is the perspective of acupuncture, on regards to weight loss as to why we get overweight?
Well, it has a lot to do with what we've already talked about.
Right.
It has a lot to do with blood flow. Has a lot to do with age. As we
Mhm.
age, systems just automatically slow down. The
Well,
car is
yeah,
no longer
like
brand new.
like li
So,
like little kids that right now where we have obesity in children, um,
mhm.
like, what, um, according to acupuncture, like, what's causing that specific abnormality?
So there's there's a system that I'm not familiar well, I don't know if you use it. I use it.
Mm,
So if you take there's apps out there,
mhm,
and what you can do is you can use your iPhone and you can scan the barcode of something that you're interested in purchasing,
mhm.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
And there's the one app that I've used in the past. It's called Yucca,
Oh,
YUK,
yeah,
and
you
you can scan. And I tend to use it more towards. I'm trying to find something that is close to organic as possible, right?
mhm,
We've for years we only eat organic as much as we possibly can.
mhm.
And then you can use this app. There's other ones. There's Think Dirty. There's Detox Me. There's about 6 or 7 of them out there that you can take this and use your iPhone, scan the barcode, and it'll give you a rating on a 0 to 100
Right.
scale. Like, how good is this product, and
Mhm,
is it healthy? And what you'll find is that when you walk into a grocery store, everything to the right or to the left is really what you want to target. You've
Yeah.
got the you've got the fruit section and the fresh
Uh-huh.
vegetable section over here along the back. You'll have the milk and the butter and all the drinks, and on the other side you'll have all the meats and stuff like that. That's the area you want to focus on. Um, you know, I know sometimes
Mhm.
people like to eat out of a box, but it's not gonna
Mhm.
it's not gonna be healthy.
Yeah.
So additives, anything added to if you look at the ingredients and you can't pronounce half the stuff that's there,
Put it
you
back.
might want to consider yeah, you it's doing an alternative to it,
Mhm.
right? Now, which in the end, what ends up happening too is that people, well, now they've got to take more time, with preparing foods. They got
Right.
to do what we do, which is grow a garden in the back, to help compensate or to balance it all out.
Mhm.
But yeah, I
So
mean, it's a bad,
it all
it to
comes
me
back
is
to what you
is
eat at the
well,
end.
that there is that, but
Mhm.
here's another story. So,
Mhm.
my wife, she's from Russia, right?
Mhm.
And when she first came to United States, I was in acupuncture school at the time, long time ago. And we would talk about different, because she was interested in the theory, how same like with you. Well, how does it work?
Mhm.
What's so great about acupuncture and stuff? And one thing that came up was I had talked to her about PMS that ladies have, and she's
Mhm.
like, "What is PMS?" And I said, so I described PMS, and she says,
Mhm.
"We don't have that in Russia." And I
Mhm.
said, "How is that possible? You don't have it in Russia?" She says, "Well, we don't. I don't know any of my friends that have PMS." Well, I've been to Russia many times,
Mhm.
and the very first time that I was in Russia, um, most people at that time, they don't do it anymore, but most people would use public transportation. So that meant they had to
Walk.
walk out of their apartment or their house,
Mhm.
get in a cab, get in a bus, get or just walk wherever they're going.
Mhm.
And when you're walking, you're moving your blood, right?
Mhm.
Your blood is flowing. And so that's my theory on why women in Russia at that time did not have any PMS.
Mhm.
Um, so it's all about burning calories. It's about getting your steps in. That's what everybody's into nowadays, is getting their steps in.
Okay, there's
Um,
more about
and like I
blood.
said, you don't have to do much.
Yeah.
What's that?
More about blood flow, moving your energy, not
Yeah,
necessarily like, "Oh, sweat it out." Just regular
yeah,
walk.
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Just a regular walk. If you want to go to the higher levels and be a more aggressive, you work up to that. You can't just run a marathon overnight. So there is that.
Like, that's a lot of information. So, let me recap. So, acupuncture, it's about blood flow, moving energies. What you're doing with the needle is that you are creating like a micro injury to help the body, to direct the body's tension to the area so it heals itself. So you're promoting healing and just letting the body do its work. You're just kind of directing it, right? And let me see if I get this right. And then uh, weight gain and how acupuncture sees it. It's again about blood flow and how when we move our body is we're as when we are actually it's kind of like our own way of doing acupuncture and moving the energy, moving the blood flow, and choosing the healthiest food to nurture our body so we could have that energy. Um, and that's what I'm getting. Is that am I in the right track?
Yeah, yeah, and then too, like I had mentioned before, you don't have to give up, your sweet stuff necessarily,
Mhm.
right?
Right.
If you if your thing is to drink a 12-pack of Mountain Dew every
Oh,
day,
Lord.
issue, or if you want to eat a whole cake, that's a different issue.
Mhm.
One that you can do, and we did this when we were on uh, the food combining thing,
Mhm.
is, and this is more of a Chinese medicine thing, perspective, Eastern medicine.
Mhm.
If you're going to eat a dinner, but you're going to follow it with a dessert, you want a dessert after, the best
Mhm.
is to gap it by an hour or two. Um,
Yeah, what do you mean? Like, wait an hour or 2
so
before your dessert? Or
yeah, yeah. So wait an hour or two before you have the dessert,
mm,
and that will
what is
actually help.
what does that do, though? Like, what does the separation, between
Um,
your meal and your dessert do?
it just gives your body more time to process what you've given it. So
Like, instead of, like,
it's
feeding it
like,
more sugar, it's like, let it process the
yeah,
sugar that
yeah.
you already fed it, and
Let it
then you
process
can give
the
it some
meal
more.
first, and then yeah,
Mhm.
then have it separate.
Got it.
I mean, there's other things that you can do, and we can get in more in depth in that at another time. But
Yeah,
that's kind of the main gist of it.
and I think we lost him. I think we lost him, but that's okay because I'm going to reach out to him and ask him how we can reach him, and I think he has an email there, and we'll just hook it up in the show notes, and, that's how you'll find him. Oh my god, I hope you guys got that information because that was a lot, and, I was I don't know, I I keep saying that I felt like I was in college, back in college in a class. So, I'm going to just leave it at that, that I did my recap, and try it out. If this is something that is interesting to you, acupuncture can help with your cravings, can help with your stress, can help with your digestion, and anything that is a hormonal imbalance. Because as we know, weight gain is a hormonal imbalance. This can help you with your journey. So I'm going to leave his information on the show notes, and I will see you on the next one. All right, guys, have a good one. Thanks for hanging out with me today. I hope it brought you a boost to your day. If you don't want to miss what's next, hit subscribe and come along for the ride. See you next time.